What's up, everyone? It's Brian here with another tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to be a MediaPipe hand tracking tutorial where I kind of show you how to map the coordinates of your wrist to your laser and then also map it to a field particle system that allows a nice trail effect to the laser's path. So let's get started here. So I am going to keep this MediaPipe container and really not get too much into how to set it up, since the creators, Torn Blankensmith and Dom Scott, made this plugin open source on GitHub, and Torn has a bunch of tutorials on YouTube that shows you how this works and shows you ways you can use it for your installation. So I'm not going to get too much into that part. I'll show you how I did the hand tracking portion. So we are going to grab the top null output right there, just right clicking on it, and you can see here that it has a bunch of parameters: the tips of your fingers, the dips of your fingers, the XYZs of all of them, and your wrist coordinates. So there's really so many to grab from. You can pick the ones I pick, you can change them, completely up to you. But today we are going to use the X and Y's of your wrist for each hand. So it's going to be H1 wrist X, H1 wrist Y, H2 wrist X, and H2 wrist Y. And I am going to copy, paste, and rename these to X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Cool. And since these values are normalized and we want them to go into, I want them to go to -1 to 1, not just 0 to 1. So we're going to grab a math here and just make this -1. Cool. All right. And then since I am not going to have my hands really for the beginning of this, and we want to see what's going on, I'm going to add a kind of a fake hand coordinate system where I'm going to grab a noise, go to the common tab, and turn time slicing on. And then name them the exact channels for a hand, so X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And they're going way too crazy, so let's make the period, let's even do higher than that. That's good. We'll just switch it to here. And now we'll get started on the field particle system. So what we're going to do is grab a grid pop right here. And the space we want to be working in, like I said earlier with the math here, it's going to be -1 on the X and Y to 1 on the X and Y. So let's just scale this up to 2. And now you can see it is on the borders. And that's it for the grid. And then we are going to add a sprinkle pop to add a bunch of more points for us to play with. Rather than the 400 here, we have 10,000, which should be plenty. And then now we're going to add some noise to it. And another thing you can kind of play around with of what you want the noise to look like. I'm going to go with like around 1. And then add our favorite line of code, abs time dot seconds. And let's multiply it by 0.1. You can see it's very subtle movement of the particles. And from there, we are going to grab our field. And then this is going to grab the portion of these points that we're going to use for our trail, or that follows the laser around. So what we want to do first is grab these coordinates, name this chords. So grab this, go to the translate, and we're going to do the left hand first. And now basically, as a sphere, it's going around this grid within these coordinates. Let's make it much smaller first. Let's make it 0.01. So in a radius of a 0.01 sphere, it is basically circling or going around this grid based off these coordinates, and that's the points that it's grabbing. And the attribute coming out of it is the weight. So let's first add some weight to it. Cool. That should be good. And then we're gonna repeat it. And just do x2 and y2 to make that the right hand. And then very simply just merge them together. Cool. And then we're going to add one of my favorite pops now, the trail pop. And this adds a really nice trail to whatever moving particles have going on. So you'll see everything goes away if there's nothing moving, because there's nothing to be trailed. So you need some sort of movement going on in your file for the trail pop to work. So we're going to let's have it trail it for about 2 seconds. See what that looks like. And then now we're going to add a delete, and this is going to grab our field points, and that's it, and get rid of the rest of the grid. So we're going to go to attribute, because we're using the weight attribute that was added to our pops. So we started off with points, normalized, and textures, and then we added a noise. With the noise, you can see it added there. It's just a float. It's just that. And then now we added a weight attribute with these two. So now we want to basically grab the weight and delete everything else but the weight. So now we have the two circles of where our quote unquote hand coordinates are currently. And that's the only ones we'll see. So then let's add one more noise. Same thing, ABS time 0.1. And let's have it go a little crazy. So let's bring the period, do the opposite of what we did earlier and just bring the period down. And add a null, and then now we're kind of ready to throw it into the 2D space. So let's go to Geo. Let's go to camera. Let's get a light, and let's get a render. So for my personal setup, these things are going to be different for everyone watching. The render is going to be whatever resolution that fits your setup. And for my setup, it's going to be 2048 box, which is what is above me. And then what I map to my lasers, 2.4 distance away from the camera. So we're going to plug this in here. And you can see above me, we got a nice little trail of particles going above me. And let's add some color to this. Let's go with pink like we had earlier. Add a null if you want to change it at some point. So I can see there's a nice little trail of particles above me. Add a null here. See. Add a black background. Cool. There you go. And then from there, I'm going to leave that for now. We'll get back to it in a second and add some flavor to it. So we're going to now go to the laser part of it. Go to the pop. Go to point. And we're going to add 2 points. And it's going to be the same thing here. These are the 2 points we're using. Left hand, X and Y, right hand, X and Y. Okay? Add a null. I'm using Beyond, so I'll be using the Pangolin laser shop. I also have an Ether Dream, so I'll sometimes use a laser connected to the laser device. But for now, we're going to be doing this. Change it to pop. And you can see that the laser is now following these orbs. Or I guess the orbs are following the laser. So let's actually turn this down. And same thing with the attributes of like the weight and the field, or which are the same things, but also like the noise and P and TX. Color also has its own attribute. So you can see my laser went out because it's showing black. So if we make this 1, it's gonna be red. If we make this be yellow, make this gonna be white. And I'm gonna keep it white for now. I mean, if you want to, you can do stuff like this where you kind of drag this onto here, reference it, so now whenever I change this, it'll also change the color of the laser as well. So I'm not gonna do that today. I'm actually just gonna keep it white. My main purpose was to lower the brightness a little bit. And for this part, there's a few things we can add to maybe add a little bit more style to it. Let's see, maybe we can add a feedback. So we'll do feedback, blur, 2 and 14 is good, level, 0.86, comp it, and then this should add a nice little glow. Reference it here. This should add a little bit of a glow to, yeah. And then maybe turn this down a little bit. A few other things you can do is like a feedback edge, let's say. Pulse it, so I guess yeah, it looks pretty good. Nice. Cool. So we're looking pretty good now. And if you want to add some sort of way to have your visuals pop up, like I said, there's so many parameters you can play with in the hand tracking. So for instance, if we go to the bottom chop output, grab a null, it has all these. So if I close my hands, close fist, open palm, thumbs up, pointing up, and these are ways to maybe turn or activate your visuals. So let's do palm, open palm, just for the left hand. Let's add a logic, just so it bounces to 1 immediately. We'll do 0.4, so it's pretty confident it's an open hand. And add a filter. So what I'm going to do is kind of have it disappear when my hands are closed or not on screen at all. And then let's also actually add a math for the color of the laser, so the laser also goes out. Since I have it at 0.7, we'll do 0.7. No, so we're gonna go to attribute, right click this, hold down and drag it to here. And then we're gonna do a transform here, just so it follows the particles, and we're gonna add a transform here. Where are you? Cool. So now everything's gone. Close my hands or in front of the camera, you can see, and then open them. And now we got this nice effect. Close them, open them, close, open. And that's more or less it. I guess I'm still not connected to here, so close, open, moving my hands around, and it's actually looking pretty solid. And yeah, a few things you can add. Mess with the trail. You can mess with the trail here, make it really long, make it really short. It's really up to you. And then for this part, mess with the level to make it like super bright if you want, but that kind of bleeds out all the color. I'm honestly kind of liking it without. I like the feedback edge. It's looking pretty good. Change the color as you please. Make it blue. And also do what I did earlier. Make the laser and make the phone the exact same color so they're always matching. If you're like, maybe every time you point up, it'll change the color and they will both change, which would be kind of cool to do. So, yeah, that's about it. So thank you for following. If this helps anyone make anything, please let me know. I'd love to check out how this influenced any projects. And then other than that, this project file will be on my Patreon. And then later this week, I'll have a little bit more of a complex Patreon file going on my $15 a month subscription. But this project file you're seeing now will be on my $10 a month subscription. So please check that out. And other than that, of course, this is on YouTube. And please, for the MediaPipe stuff, check out Torrin Blankensmith's Instagram and YouTube. And you'll get a good explanation of how to use this. But yeah, thank you so much. Until next time.